The game was effectively a dead rubber once England batted first, but Kolkata has seen an England victory. The 2019 champions will head back home with qualification for the Champions Trophy done. Pakistan fly home tomorrow morning starting at 8:30 to Dubai with their campaign coming to a sorry end. Dav Whatmore here in the studio with me. We have the match summary up on our screens as well. It says 93-run win for England. It was an emphatic win. This was the England we are more used to seeing. Sadly, it came right at the end, the last two games.
Way too late. And I'm sure that they'll be saying only if. We'll all be saying that, but seriously, they've had a really bad tournament. They just salvaged something good in the last two games, with the express purpose of keeping their Champions Trophy chances alive.
And for Pakistan, at least with that late blast from Haris Rauf, that sort of ensured that they'll finish above Afghanistan on the points table. So they may not like people saying that they're not the second best team in Asia at the moment.
Oh no, yeah, that was just that sort of thing happens. I mean, they could have got out first ball the way they just threw the bat, but they just put a little bit more respectability to that total, Diggy. But that's about it, really. People who watch the game will know, okay, they finish sixth, but fifth, but their campaign wasn't that good either.
Okay, you allowed England to get to 338, actually 338 to win. And we heard Anas Malik, our Pakistan bureau chief, telling us about the team talk which Babar Azam gave. That, let's go for it. Whatever happens, we'll go for it. But it didn't quite come off. And then they had to resort to plan B, which was Babar and Rizwan sort of trying to ensure that it wasn't a 80, 90 kind of a total, because in this ground, last time South Africa played, they were shot out for 83.
Yeah, and again we saw, sadly, starts, both of these batsmen, if Pakistan are to do well, they both need to get some scores. It's okay to do it every now and again, but this has been a regular occurrence, particularly with the captain, who gets a start looking good and then he holes out on this occasion to mid-wicket on a pull shot. It's just happening, a little bit too regularly, and that's been one of the problems they've had.
In fact, they expected a lot from Babar Azam. We'll look at his numbers in this tournament in just a bit. Let's look at the innings progression, Pakistan's innings progression, and perhaps we can then compare it to England's innings progression. First 10 was a bit of a scrap, 43. In fact, nowhere through this run chase were they actually sort of, apart from the last 3 overs and say 35, 38 down to where they finished 43, where Haris Rauf decided, if I'm going down, I'm going to go down swinging, and that was pretty entertaining. But that was perhaps the most entertaining bit in that innings, that 50-plus stand.
Well, they put a smile on some of their faces, but the spinners did well for England, particularly the leg spinner. I thought he bowled...
Adil Rashid.
Yeah, he bowled extremely well. Got the ball to turn so much, both the conventional leg break and the googly. And he was not easy to pick, he was not easy to play, and I think he got those wickets in that fourth phase, 4 for 64 in that. It was, while it's difficult to play him, they should have still made a better effort than that.
Yes, and in fact, again, when you look at a tournament of what could have been, again, Moeen Ali and Rashid, they expected so much for them. It's only the last 2 games that they started to sort of take wickets as well. Yeah,
Moeen Ali as well. I think Adil Rashid has been giving some contribution throughout. But Moeen Ali was the one that, both his batting and his bowling was a little bit below par this series, and he started to make up a little bit for it in the last 2 games.
Let's contrast this with England's the way England sort of approached their innings at the start. And you wouldn't mind this, would you? I mean, the runs didn't lose too many wickets in the middle overs, and then, yes, they lost wickets in a heap, but that's England for you. That's what they do. They sort of conserve wickets, and then they really go hard in the last 10.
Yeah, at least they had, eight of those wickets to lose in the last 10.
Yeah.
Well, they still got 97. I'm sure they would have preferred to have got more than 97. They could have if they didn't lose wickets, but still, 97's 97, and that
close
helped.
10 and over.
That's right. They helped him to get the over 300, and in a fairly good position. So what is interesting? There's not many wickets in that column, in the first 40 overs.
Yes, just 2.
Yep.
Just 2.
Yep.
In fact, let's look at England's batters through this match, and a lot of sort of positives in a sense. Johnny Bairstow finally getting some runs.
Yeah.
Stokes once again, perhaps his last innings. In fact, we'll talk more about that. This is probably the end of an era. This English team, which sort of entertained us since 2016, the first time they really got close was on this very ground. Do you remember the name? Carlos Brathwaite on this very ground. Sort of hit Stokes, was it, for 4 sixes and won them that T20, 2016. And who has got runs? I think Malan got a decent amount of runs at the top of the order as well.
In this game?
Yeah.
Yeah, he started off well as also. But John Bairstow was the one. Again, 50. At least he got 59 before he got out. He's been guilty of getting out far too early in the previous games. But on that pitch, it looked a nice pitch when the ball was new. And he was seeing it pretty well for a change. And the one that he actually got out to was hit pretty hard against a very fast delivery, nearly 150. And
but the worry for England is Malan is the second oldest player in the side. A lot of these players will perhaps not play one-day cricket ever again.
Pretty sure.
But he ends this tournament as their top run getter.
Yep.
Okay. I think Stokes has gone up to number 2 on the back of 3 innings, 100 and 2 50s. Got 84 today, looked good for 100. Got an absolutely sensational ball from Shaheen Shah Afridi.
Absolutely, yeah. So
that's a Wasim kind of ball.
Yeah, you can excuse him for that, can't
you?
Yeah. But it's his attitude. You can feel it. You can see it. And if he had been with that team right from the beginning, you never know. It might have rubbed off, in a very good way with the rest of them. He's obviously a pretty good player.
Okay. Joe Root, not the most sort of sublime knock, but that's his job, to keep one end up. Got 60 as well. A decent enough strike rate by his standards, considering the likes of Kohli and all are going at 85, 86. Not bad from He caught up. There was a phase when he was really struggling. But you don't see him going through as well, right, to the next ODI cycle?
No, I don't. And I don't think he probably particularly wants to either. He'll probably play test matches and hopefully get a little franchise gig every now and again. But I think he's a test match player. Yeah,
didn't get to play, I think, a single game for the Rajasthan Royals, did he?
No, warmed the bench up beautifully.
Okay. This guy's the future. Harry Brook, really liked the intent he got, especially after those wickets fell. And also, Josh Butler, for a change, we saw him attacking, saw some intent, got out, but did get some amount of runs under his belt. It got, 111 in 8 games so far, and in this game got 20-odd.
I mean, he came with a lot of accolades, right? A lot of good, positive talk behind him, but didn't really produce. He was the one that took Jason Roy's place. So
that's Brook.
Brook, yeah. You can argue the fact that, if Jason Roy was here, it might have been a slightly different story, with him opening and then David Malan at 3. Yeah.
Okay, so this is what England got. They got about 338 odd, and Pakistan, as we told you, sort of finished 93 short. Before we talk what next for Pakistan, let's look at why we're calling this the end of an era. We've got our graphics. We've looked at some numbers of England since the 2015 World Cup. That's where they decided that under Eoin Morgan, that's the way they would never play again. He was tasked with this white ball reset. In a way, that reset helped the Test team reset when that team hit rock bottom under Joe Root. But here we go. This is what they did. 2016 T20 World Cup finalists, as I said, lost to the West Indies on this ground. Won the 2019 World Cup, semi-finalists at the 2021 World Cup in the UAE. Champions of the T20 World Cup last year in Australia, beat Pakistan in the final, came into this World Cup with both ODI titles. They go back in the group stage. What this doesn't probably tell you is how atrocious they were initially. They lost 5 in a row. But just from a cricketing point of view, Dav, what this English team achieved, they were the laughing stock of world cricket. But over the course of that 7-8 years, they were bloody good, weren't they?
They were very good, and they should have been again this time around. I think what they failed to understand, there are phases in this 50-over game in Indian conditions that you have to adopt a bit more of a cautious approach. This aggression that they're so very good at, when the conditions are correct and are right, then they're very good at that too. They bat all the way down and they can take a few chances. But when it's doing a little bit, and we've seen examples of generally second innings batting under lights. Sometimes pitches are favouring fast bowlers even in that middle phase, particularly if you lost a few wickets. So there's a requirement to adjust your approach, this aggressive approach, depending on the situation. And, I don't think they grasped that enough. It was England, the aggressors. But in certain phases, yes, it's warranted. In other phases, no.
It just takes me back to a conversation I had with Roland Altman, the great hockey coach, at the 2012 Olympics. And India reached there wanting to play attacking, aggressive hockey. And Michael Nobbs was the coach, good Australian like you, a good friend of mine. And he said, our approach is going to be attack, attack, attack. India go out there, try to attack. I think Germany thrashed them in the first game of the World Cup. India finished with the wooden spoon. It was really bad. So I met Roland Altmans outside the Games Village in London. And I knew him because of the hockey. And he was there with the Dutch team as the high performance for the overall contingent. And I said, what do you make of this attack, attack, attack? He said, attack without defence is suicide. I still remember it 11 years ago.
Well, it doesn't always work, does it?
Yes.
You've got to also be flexible enough to defend in that case, and certainly defend in certain phases and situations in the 50-over game.
Let's look at England, the team which won the 2019 World Cup, and the team which won the 2022 T20 World Cup. Lots of common names, okay? Lots of common names. So Atkinson was there as well in the last one. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 members from that squad there. If you look at this team, I think 8 or 9 there as well from the 2019 World Cup winning squad. That's it. Wood was there, Wokes was there, Stokes, Root, Rashid, Butler, Bairstow, Moeen. That's 8.
That's more than half, isn't it?
That's more than half. And I think 11 of them were over the age of 30. So this was anyway going to be the culmination of that grand cycle.
Yeah.
And it's going to obviously usher in a transition phase. There's, I think, a tour of West Indies coming up, if I'm not sure, very soon in the next couple of months. And they're anyway going to test their bench over there. But how would you remember this England side, this great England white ball side of the last 7 years? We don't want to remember them for this World Cup, but they have sort of entertained us, haven't they?
Well, they have. You're generally left with the knowledge, and you associate words in the last performance. It's often people forget, how good they were or how good anybody was in the previous set of competitions, but you tend to always remember the last one, and this one for England wasn't too good. So, whilst we admit and acknowledge that they've been very good over a cycle of maybe 2 cycles, now it's time to reset again and have another rethink and come up with a fresh set of players that they hope will, carry them to another World Cup trophy in 4 years' time.
But from a coaching perspective, Dav, why is it so difficult? Because I'm remembering now, 1996, Sri Lanka won the World Cup. 99, a lot of the personnel was similar. and sort of they went down.
In the World Cup, yeah, I can tell you there.
Yeah.
They had this plan, you know. I heard an interview from manager Dulip Mendes, who's a smart man. We've got a secret plan. You know the secret plan? 4 spinners in June, early June.
In England?
Yeah, it was the most horrific selection. And they were playing, I think it might have been South Africa, when their fast bowlers, only 2 of them, I think, they had finished their quota, and they made big inroads into the strong South African batting because it was doing a bit, but no one else to come and bowl. So, you know,
but you see that in other sports as well. You look at Italy, which won the 2006 FIFA World Cup, came up with a very similar squad. 2010, lost in the first round.
Yeah, but this is a totally different set of conditions. You know, totally different conditions.
No, I'm trying to understand from a coaching perspective. Yeah. At times, are you worried to take strong calls because it's going to hurt a lot of people and you don't want to do that? And perhaps the time to reset this English team was perhaps last year after the T20. And the other problem which has now emerged is that the problems which they faced right now, we didn't see much of it because England were hardly playing the format. They expected everyone to come together. Oh, jolly good, come, it's good times all over again.
Yeah, I think most times loyalty can get in the road of, you know, being smart and making the right decision. If you're too loyal to players, you know, it can be a problem. And I think in Sri Lanka's case, certainly they failed to truly understand that the conditions were going to be totally different, and he needed a different skill set to match those conditions. It didn't quite happen, and they didn't qualify.
But just trying to play devil's advocate, perhaps Rob Key and Josh Butler would say, but we tried that. We got rid of Jason Roy. We got in Harry Brook.
Well, it's only one player, isn't it? You know, and the player you brought in was meant to be, you know, the next best thing since sliced bread. And he probably will, but, you know, still early in his career. And it may have been a breath of fresh air. If he had done really well, then you'd have to say well done on that selection. But you can only comment on what's happened. And
but what's also happened is they had a collective failure. With the bat, a lot of these English players, when they head back home and they look at the numbers, they said, no, we weren't very good. The problem was maybe the personnel weren't the problem. I heard Nasser Hussain say that he would pick this England side once over again. It's rare to see all these good players collectively have this failure. I mean, Bairstow scoring runs only probably in this game. Butler having an absolute shocking World Cup. Root starting off well, then completely sort of losing his way. Stokes also tried to hit his way out of trouble against India, didn't work. And then sort of came good towards the end. They sort of just didn't know how to collectively play well until the last couple of games.
And get out of this earlier. Yeah. And it puts a lot of pressure too on all the support staff to somehow or other still create and maintain a healthy environment. You know, not easy to do when, you know, game after game you turn up losing on the losing side. Not an easy thing to do. But and the natural reaction with players is to close up, is to, you know, but and thinking, well, if I get out again, then I'll look really bad. But you have to free up your mind. Easy to say.
Yes.
Very difficult to do sometimes unless you are absolutely given the go-ahead and the confidence from the leadership and support staff. Okay,
questions that are probably going to be answered after a review, that dreaded word. There's going to be a review in Pakistan as well, I can tell you. Anas Malik, our Pakistan bureau chief, has sent me the travel details of the Pakistan team. One batch of them fly out at 8:30 in the morning. So it's going to be a very short turnaround for them as well. Where do Pakistan go from here? Because what we've discussed with Anas, considering your background in Pakistan, the people in Pakistan are unhappy.
They are.
It's going to be a very knee-jerk sort of reaction. And they anyway don't seem to have a transition plan in place. And when you have these scatterbrained decisions, which are now, we believe, will happen, it's going to throw the team off again.
It's cultural, though, isn't it? I mean, it's not new for them to, you know, to I can't wait to have this review. Bring them in, and on the pretext of we want to find out what went wrong. We want to know what we can do better, and we'll fix it that way. But I tell you, it's not a pretty sight, not a pleasant meeting when that happens, because people will be sharpening knives now. So there will be changes, a knee-jerk reaction, but it'll calm down after a little bit, after a month or so, and then players will have to go back and prove themselves, which they will do, and they will come back again. But certainly
they're off to Australia. There's going to be one hammering over there as well.
Yeah, well, that's right. Their history is not good. The win-loss rate.
Perhaps don't even have the bowlers who can bowl long spells. That's what the great Wasim was saying. I heard him say on TV.
You need when the batting wickets when batsmen get going on those wickets, hard to get them out.
So he was saying that the first 20 overs you have a chance. If you don't get wickets in those 20 overs, then that ball, the Kookaburra ball, it's very easy to score.
The seam flattens down a little bit, and if you don't look after it, boy, it just doesn't move. Some reverse later, but towards that 65th, 70th over. But there are times when teams have come over and they bowl for like 120 overs. That's 4 sessions of play, and that's very difficult to do.
Okay, while we talk Pakistan, let's take some questions as well. Zafran is asking Dav, this is no more with Whatmore. Why did Pakistan not qualify for the semis? What was the main reason according to you?
The main reason was principally they weren't able to score runs. Their main players were sadly out of nick, and your leader was number one culprit. He doesn't do it on purpose, I know. That was one. Shaheen Shah Afridi started pretty lowly. He didn't give us the return of wickets as he would have hoped and everyone expected. And that didn't help either. And before you know it, one loss becomes 2, particularly after the big rivalry game, the India match. And confidence goes down. And when confidence goes down, it really, you have to dig deep to try and get it back. And there would be other little factors as well that influence it, but the spinners weren't that great either. When you look at, you look to get wickets in the middle. I'm a little surprised actually. Pakistan spinners were...
What a tradition of spinners they have.
Yeah, that's right.
They've gone missing over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And especially you spoke about the India game. And I said this back then, and I said I got the feeling when I was there that they had pinned everything on that India game. When it went away from them, it sort of fell away because 1 became 2, 2 became 3. But there's also a bit of luck involved. The South Africa game would have turned it around for them. But that was deflating. The Afghanistan game, they had no business sort of losing that as well. And when you say Shaheen Shah Afridi turned it around, those are the sort of games when you've got 280, it's not a bad total. It's a pretty decent total, 280 against Afghanistan.
Yep.
You've never sort of lost to them. And that's where you need to show that aggressive intent, sort of bounce them out, sort of put them on the back foot. We never saw that.
And they also only lost a few wickets chasing that total. Maybe the other factor as well, Diggy, Fakhar Zaman came over with a pretty decent reputation, a good reputation. And sadly, he was out of form leading up to that tournament, plus the practice matches. So one game, let's make a change now and get Imam ul-Haq in. Oh, no, Abdullah Shafiq. Yeah, good player.
But to be fair to him, he got 100 in that first game.
Yeah.
So how do you get Fakhar Zaman back?
Yeah, no, well, that's okay. But the other guy could have...
Imam ul-Haq.
Yeah, Imam ul-Haq might have been able to make way for Fakhar Zaman a bit earlier. If he was, if he was in a bit of nick, then nothing would have happened anyway. He would have played. So I think he's somebody that, gives the team a damn good start when he's going.
Yeah, didn't happen today.
No.
But he did mention the captaincy, Babar Azam. Let's bring up Babar Azam's numbers because the captain of Pakistan has a reputation of being his team's best player. And we've seen across this World Cup, the teams with the best players, they've sort of stood up. They've managed themselves well. There's one point, obviously, is that they were fatigued. They were in Sri Lanka for a long time. He was playing the Lanka Premier League as well. Then there was the Asia Cup. Perhaps he was jaded, didn't start off too well, then got a 50 against India, but his dismissal triggered the collapse. Again, so against Afghanistan, got 74, 50 against South Africa, 66 against New Zealand, got runs today as well.
4 half centuries.
4 half centuries, consistent, but not Babar Azam standard knocks.
No, that's right. In one of those, at least one of those 4 50s, he needed to make 100. At least one.
Can I be honest with you? He was batting beautifully against India.
Yeah, I know.
He started off very well. He was going at over on the ball. Then suddenly, the spinners came on, just
came into his shell a bit.
Came into his shell.
Yeah.
And that cost them the momentum.
He probably felt that we can just keep going, just keep going like this. But that's fine. So the run rate comes down a little bit. But that's fine. But you've got to ensure that you go on. Once you get out, then it puts pressure on the incoming players, because the scoreboard hasn't got the amount of runs that it should have been requisite to the amount of time you spend at the crease. So,
are you also okay with his strike rate? Well, just leave the New Zealand game when they had to literally go, and he actually caught up only at the end when he showed he went for a few runs.
It is a bit low, isn't it? But if he had gone on, though, I think that might have, you would have caught up.
That's what we've seen with the Kohlis of the world, the Warners of the world, De Kock as well, Van der Dusen as well, who's exactly, I think he's in the Van der Dusen sort of template. Start slowly, take your time, but the good batters find a way of sort of accelerating, which unfortunately... See, he's not going to play like Maxwell. We don't expect him to play like Maxwell.
Totally different
He
player.
idolizes Kohli, but I think what he needs to do is study Kohli's innings breakdown. We did it once, I think, for one of the games. How Kohli was after, 50 balls, he was at 35. But as he got to 70, 80 balls, he was almost run a ball over there.
That would have happened if he was able to go on and get 100.
Okay. Some more questions? This has no correlation to the fact that we were talking about Babar Azam, but Suresh asks, who, according to you, was the worst performer for Pakistan at this World Cup?
Worst?
Who was the biggest letdown? Let me just rephrase it and make it a bit more politer.
Oh, dear.
Babar?
I suppose, can be unfair, but the expectations were a lot higher, I think, than what he delivered.
Okay. Shibesh Shengupto saying, don't worry, Babar will bounce back. Love from India.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And the one good thing is, maybe from Pakistan, yes, there's that history, but when a good batter is in flow, he's in flow, he or she. We saw what Maxwell did the other day, and while you could have some sort of a inclination there because of your time in Australia, for me, just as purely as a cricket fan, I loved what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, everyone would have too. And there was glimpses today again with Babar Azam, in his innings. He looked so comfortable, he just did it easily. Gets out. Lots
of comments on Babar. I think people are watching us right now. Nakib Parkar says Babar is a world-class player, undoubtedly. Everyone has his or her own class. It's just that he was not lucky enough to get the amount of support from his teammates that he needed to take his team to the next level.
Well, it's easy to say not getting support, meaning you make contributions in runs. Yeah, well, I think he's got to take a little responsibility and lead the way here. Mohammad Rizwan started to do that.
Yeah. But he too fell away.
He also dipped a little bit, There's a couple of innings that was very un-Mohammad Rizwan-like. And, he was up there in the leading run scorers there for a while.
Yes, and then where's he gone?
Yeah.
I think after first 3 or 4 games he was up there.
Yep.
Then just sort of fell away. Tahira has a question. Actually, it's not a question, actually. She has a comment. This can't be the end of your journey as a captain, Babar. Don't give up, because your fans will not give up on you, and life will come full circle.
Yeah, I agree. As I said the other night, that he should retain his leadership. There was some talk that he may want to give it away on his own volition, because captains going to Australia haven't done very well. And I don't expect them to go that well here either, but I think individually he could have a really good tour. Because if he gets a start and gets set in Australia, there's some wickets there he'll really enjoy.
But perhaps the split captaincy will work. It'll sort of ease the pressure on him and allow him to just play freely and be the class batter that he is, because we've seen even with Kohli, he was the standout player for his team. But the way he's playing now under Rohit Sharma's captaincy.
Yes, it's definitely an option. I'm sure that will be discussed as well. But whatever's best for the team. But I'd like to see him continue on.
Okay, Khurram Shah. I think all of you are watching us live either on Facebook or YouTube. So send in your comments. Remember, Dav Whatmore won a World Cup in Sri Lanka, but he's also coach of Pakistan, and lots of things he knows about Pakistan cricket. Khurram Shah, ups and downs are part of life, and you have all given your best throughout the tournament. We trust on you, we believe in you, be confident and bounce back stronger. You know what, Khurram? I hope every Pakistan fan gets behind their team. They're not a bad team. Okay, they finished on what, 8? Could have been 10. Could have been 10 with that South Africa win as well. Mohammad Asif has a question, something to do with the review you don't like too much. Be honest, please. Who's responsible for these things? The management, the captain, or the board and selectors?
For what?
For what we just seen, the Pakistan team's performance at this World Cup. It's all given, right? It's all linked. The board doesn't plan too well.
Yeah.
It sends players to Sri Lanka. They're fatigued. They're not fresh. Contrast this. You should ask this question to your board, my friend. But contrast this to how India have prepared for this World Cup. For the longest time, they've either rested Kohli or they've rested Rohit Sharma. Jasprit Bumrah's barely played a game in the last 12 months. So India was smart in the way they've ensured their team was hungry, raring to go. Not sure the right way to prepare for this World Cup was 3 months in Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Look, my response to that would be when the team does really well, everybody rejoices, everybody is happy, everybody, is so buoyant, and so that includes, your administration right the way down to the players. So when you do badly, then it's also the responsibility should be shared going all the way up as well. So there will be certain things that everybody should be saying, you know what, if I'd have done that slightly differently, the outcome could have been different.
But how do they do it when they have a board change every 4 or 5 months? I think that's the problem. And that's the question Pakistan cricket needs to ask itself. You're going to have a situation where every 1 year someone is there, then a new board president comes in. You know why? Because the Prime Minister of Pakistan decides, off with your head, someone else. That's not the way. And we spoke about the Indian cricket team this morning, last evening, I think, in fact, on how, while there is politics in the Indian Cricket Board, it doesn't affect the structure of Indian cricket.
Yeah.
I think that's what they need to understand.
And the selections got much better too.
Yeah. Okay. Another question, a repeat question from Shibesh Shengupto. He's watching us. He's listening to us. He's liking what you're saying.
Good. Thank you, Shibesh.
Okay, this is what he says. Asks Dav, do you not think that Babar Azam was betrayed by Shaheen Shah Afridi?
Betrayed?
Yeah? Strong word?
Oh, gee, I wish I knew the intricate,
So we've heard about the politics. Shahid Afridi saying make Shaheen captain. All that happens.
Well, I know that's coming from outside, and obviously they do talk because they are related. And it's sad it comes out in public, but to feel betrayed, I'm pretty sure this guy here, when he gets on the field and get a ball in his hand, he's going to go flat out and do the best he possibly can, regardless of who's captain. So I'm not sure that's a bit of a strong word to use. But maybe, secretly he'd harbour, ambitions of, leading the team one day.
Why shouldn't they?
Well, nothing wrong in that, yeah. Nothing wrong in that at all. But,
as Anas was telling us, won the PSL as well.
That's right. Yeah. So I think he's got good aspirations to lead maybe in the shortest version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Siddiqui asks, what's the main reason for Pakistan's exit from this World Cup? He's given us 4 options. You've got to pick that. Babar Azam, the selectors, Jai Shah and the BCCI. You know what? Jai Shah and the BCCI have done a very good job. India unbeaten till now. Don't blame them. Don't blame them because your team couldn't get its act together. I'm not a big fan of the BCCI, but listen, That's not fair.
Why did he say that?
Coaches and mentor. Oh, important question. Who's the actual boss here? Big question.
Yeah,
Nicky Arthur, Grant Bradburn.
Well, that's the other. Look, I have to say that's really unusual that a guy like Mickey Arthur, who was the director of cricket, I think, his title.
But he was offered the job. Then he said, you know what, I can't take it because I'm going to be with Derbyshire.
He's had a 4-year contract with Derbyshire, a very good contract.
He said, okay, I'll fly in and fly out. He's like a consultant.
It's very difficult to serve two masters. I can tell you that. Unless you've got small assignments that everyone agrees it's only in and out, and that's the job started and the job's finished. But in this case here, this is ongoing. When you play international cricket, it's never an in-season or an off-season. It is continuous. It just It's a continuum. So it's not a case of starting and finishing. And to come in and to have that authority, it's very unusual, and it's difficult for players to sort of, to understand who do they gravitate to, the head coach or Mickey Arthur. There's a bowling coach.
There's Mone Morkel over there.
Morkel, yes. Yeah,
There's batting coach, fielding coach.
Yeah, it's not. In some ways, it's disruptive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps what they need is they need to integrate some of their legends, because I remember the very successful period for them had also been when Misbah was coach. Misbah was coach, test coach.
He was, yeah.
And Waqar was working with him as well then as bowling coach.
Too. But that was, and a head selector.
Yes.
Wow, he had a lot of authority there.
Yep. Miyam asks, and this is a question to you, Imran Khan captained Pakistan in 3 World Cups. 83, 87, 92. He won just the 92 World Cup. Why does everyone want to replace Babar after just 1 World Cup? Should Pakistan give another chance to Babar?
The trend in the subcontinent, and happily it's not happening with some of the countries, but the trend definitely in subcontinent and Pakistan is to stop and change. India was doing that as well, not all that long ago. Sri Lanka similarly, and Bangladesh also have a little history in changing.
What's the right word? Trigger happy.
Trigger happy.
Trigger happy.
Yeah. So as soon as you don't do well in a series, out you go. We'll try somebody else. Sri Lanka definitely did that for a period. So, I agree. I think there should be some continuity, and given a decent length of time.
Okay. Yeah. Hina Didar has an interesting comment. Hina. We were not prepared for this World Cup, and we failed as a whole team. Not even our key players could impress us with their performances, but definitely it's an eye-opener for the Pakistan cricket board to step up their game and improve the quality of cricket that we have been playing. That's the question that needs to be answered. These are the best players of Pakistan at this World Cup. Just, they're not 10 other people waiting somewhere who weren't picked. Like the case of Angelo Matthews with Sri Lanka. He was sitting in Sri Lanka while the team was here. And then they had to get him in.
Perhaps that guy Bra, good mystery bowler, he could have been in that 15 and offered a solution for your wickets in the middle.
Yes, but the point I'm trying to make is that the problem in Pakistan cricket has to be addressed structurally. And that's not going to happen. You can remove these 15. You can remove these 15. That's not going to get you results. Because winning, we're talking today in very high praise of the Indian cricket team. What have India won since the 2013 World Cup Champions Trophy? Nothing. But the core of that team is very much similar. The team which lost the 17 Champions Trophy to Pakistan. Who was there? Rohit played. Virat played. Pandya played. Bumrah played. I think Jadeja was in there, or perhaps that was the phase when he was out of the team. I think 5, 6, 7 players have been around. You have to have
Ashwin,
a consistent core. No, Ashwin wasn't there. Consistent core. And then around them you add the missing pieces of the jigsaw. Okay, let's take some more questions. Zishan Khan has a, I don't know if it's a left-handed compliment. I'm watching you so as to increase my levels of English. Him, not me. Him. Okay.
It's a good question, isn't it?
Good question. Okay. Let's look at what else we have. Lots of fans, lots of questions for you actually. Usman Kita on Facebook saying, very nice show, I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir, for watching us, and hopefully you get to play some cricket. But I do think you're somewhere from Africa, simply because Naby Keita, Liverpool man, I'm a big fan. So, yeah. Okay. Adan Qureshi has a statement. The reason behind Pakistan's not so good performance because the bowling is very poor pace and especially spin, poor captaincy from Babar. They play under pressure and they don't play aggressive cricket, and some players don't have good ODI experience.
Well done. Good observation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Achal says, I don't understand how Pakistani fans compare the team with India. India have lost 4 matches in the ICC ODI World Cup since 2011. Pakistan lost 5 in a single World Cup.
There you go. Yeah. Not a good series.
Okay. Just a funny comment. Hardest off to England bowlers. Let me repay some of my sixes hit to me to the English bowlers, says Ella. Carol says the last wicket partnership was entertaining to watch. Raman says England and Pakistan are going to leave India at the same time. How often do we say this?
Wow. Not very often at all, eh?
Yep.
Yeah. So what? First flight goes at 8:30?
Yeah, I'll bring that up. I have it somewhere. Lovepreet says Pakistan team should change their batting order. The bowlers have better batting skills than the top order. Reverse the order, yeah. Okay, similar points on that. Tito is remembering incident from the past, the 10th wicket partnership. Brought back memories for him of the 2003 World Cup where Shoaib Akhtar and Saqlain Mushtaq smashed 54 off for that last wicket. Okay, let me see what else has come in. Arisha saying, at least with this World Cup, we know what needs to be done. Just blaming our captain Babar is not the solution. Instead of changing players, the management needs to work with these players and come back stronger.
I'm sure that'll happen.
Yeah? Okay. Some more? You mind if I take some more? Accept it or not, says Harish, Afghanistan played better than Pakistan in this World Cup. That's a statement. Do you want to agree to that? Let's bring up the points table.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, absolutely, I agree with it. Yeah.
Both teams finished on 8 points?
Yep, but they played better cricket. They played better cricket. You know, that's not to say that you know, Pakistan can't return to a very strong team. As I said, Afghanistan's challenge now is to continue to improve, which I think they can do.
Okay, the next comment is an ode to Mr. Whatmore. Okay, this is my way of putting it. I spotted something here which I want to bring up. Farhan says the 4 teams who perhaps most fittingly deserve to be in the semis halfway through the league stage are in the semis. He called it. And I kept saying, no, Pakistan. Pakistan ahead of New Zealand. But no, you called it. But fair reflection, the 4 best teams have gone through.
I think so. Yeah, look, you know, you look at the players in each team and you'd have to say they deserve to be there.
Okay. Izahar is not too happy. So thank God the World Cup is over. I was extremely worried for the safety of our team. Huge relief once they fly out. Come on, we've been good hosts. The Pakistan team has been well looked after. And so much I can tell you that when the Indian team went there, I went with the team 2004, we were well looked after as well. Leave politics out of it. Babar Azam and his team have been looked after very well. Okay, they didn't get the results, but we haven't heard anything to the contrary. Anas Malik knows exactly what's going on in the Pakistan team. He hasn't told us even once, has he? Oh, they're not too happy?
I think it would have been nice if they had more supporters from their own country, but then that's a different...
Yep.
It's a different topic altogether.
Okay, so you wanted to know, no more with Whatmore, no more with Diggy, what's happening with Pakistan. So the first batch of 11 players will fly out at 8:55 a.m. They even have the flight number. I don't want to put that out. The remaining members will fly out from Kolkata at 8:20, 12 hours later, tomorrow. And the players from Sialkot will be landing in their city on the 13th of November. Players from the management and players and members from the team who are from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Islamabad and Rawalpindi will be landing in Islamabad on November 13. That's day after tomorrow.
There's no direct flights, is there? The direct
No,
flight?
they have to go by Dubai.
Dubai, oh.
Yeah. No direct flights India to Pakistan.
Okay.
Players from Lahore and will be landing on November 13, 2 different flights. Hassan Ali is going to stay back in India. He will return back to Pakistan on the 22nd of November. I think he's got families, wife's families from here. Team director Mickey Arthur is staying in Dubai from November 13 to 16 before leaving for Lahore on the 16th of November.
3 days. Very good. Can't be a holiday, that's for sure.
You can ask Mickey, he's your friend, not mine. You have his number, do you?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Okay. So on that note, I think lots of banter, lots of conversation. Thank you all for your comments. We don't want to criticize. We're not here to do that. When we see something in the game, we sort of try and bring it out. Unfortunately, on this day, Pakistan not good enough to beat England. Pakistan going home, so are England. Not the campaigns these two teams wanted. Both teams, remember, losing too many matches in the middle phase of that World Cup. In fact, Pakistan started off strongly. England didn't. England lost 5 in a row and the first teams to get eliminated. But transition time coming up in both countries. Just see, if you're a Pakistan fan and you're hurting deep, remember one thing. England, they have won this. They came in as world champions and they were really awful. But see how things happen in England. It's not going to be sort of a trigger-happy situation over there. People will get moved on. There will be a transition. This is sport. You have good days. You have bad days. Have I summed it up well?
Very well, Dicky. Very well.
Okay. So this is it. Dav Whatmore and I signing off. It's Diwali on Sunday. India are playing the Netherlands. A preview to that game is coming up on our digital streams. Dav Whatmore and I are going to enjoy Diwali. So you want to wish our fans, that's your camera, a very happy Diwali.
Absolutely. Everybody and anybody have a great, happy Diwali tomorrow.
Okay, I'll say Shubh Deepavali. Enjoy responsibly. Remember, the air quality is not so good. Just lay off on those crackers. You can enjoy Diwali without bursting crackers as well. Light a diya. Push away the darkness from your life. Enjoy it. Enjoy lots of sweets. I can tell you, my Kaju Barfis are at home. I shall finish this, go home, have some sweets as well. This is a time to be with friends and family and to enjoy. Happy Diwali to everyone from all of us here on the WION sports team and in fact from the larger WION family. For the moment, signing off from WION World of Cricket.